You don't value them. You fear them. We fear no one.
I want to preface our conversation by saying we are going to talk spoilers in a little bit. But before kind of getting into the specifics of some of the season 2 moments that you have, I did want to ask you about something that I only just learned myself recently, which is that I didn't know that your co-star, John Turturro, had actually pitched for you to play Bert when he was cast in Severance. When did you learn that yourself?
No, I've only learned that recently, and I'm very glad to hear it. I'm glad it happened, and I think one of the things about Bert and Irving has to do with Chris and John. I've known John for a very long time, 40, 50 years. I don't know. We were young actors going around New York looking for work, and I've known him a long time. He's a terrific director, and I've been in 2 or 3 of his movies. I know his family, and I think that it makes sense that he and I would play. You can kind of see. You can tell when you see people together that they've known each other a long time, that they like each other. They laugh at each other's jokes, they finish sentences. And so I think it makes absolute sense that John and I would be playing, people who love each other.
I mean, from a position of someone playing Bert, I would love to know what you kind of feel is the reason that Bert is drawn to Irving in season 1. How did you kind of interpret the pull that he feels toward this other man as you were exploring this dynamic in season 1?
If you look at any 2 people who are together, married or together, who can, what's that song, Some Enchanted Evening? Who can explain it? Who can tell you why? It's mysterious.
So nothing explicable, really.
No, people love each other. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there is I would say like a sweetness and a vulnerability to their relationship that I think sort of serves to offset the intensity that this show has a lot of the time. Was there anything, though, that surprised you in getting to play those more emotional moments with John, especially as you've just kind of talked about, given your longtime friendship and collaboration that you've had?
Yeah. For some reason, and I think I know partly what it is, early in my career, I got started playing disturbed people. I played suicidal people, people who got into trouble, and that kind of got a thing going with me where I played all these twisted people. But to play, a nice man, a decent guy with a love interest is something really rare for me, especially at this point in my career. So that was a big plus when it came to playing this part. It was not only with people that I admire a lot, but it was something different for me.
Kind of switching gears to season 2, as we see in the finale, there's a big moment that I think people had hoped for between your characters, but it doesn't resolve in the most ideal way. But then we see that Bert is starting to follow Irving around, kind of trying to figure out what this guy's deal is. Even without the knowledge of the innies and the fact that Bert has a husband, do you think he still feels that kind of indescribable pull somehow between them?
I do think so. But you've seen the second season.
Not all of it. Just I'm only going to ask you
some of it.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've seen the first season, but the second season, I of course. I remember shooting the scenes. I know what they're about. But on the other hand, anything I've ever done, when I go see it a year later, you shoot it and then you go see it a year later, and it's always surprising. There's stuff about it, there's stuff in it that I hadn't noticed was there. And even if I think I shot the scene, I think I know what it was, it's always a surprise.
I mean, speaking of surprises, I wanted to ask about when you found out that John Noble would be playing Fields in season 2 and what it was like getting to film that dinner scene in episode 6 with all of you kind of sitting around the table.
Yeah, that scene, I don't know what it turned out to be. As I say, I haven't seen it, but the scene, when I read it, I thought, this is like one of those family dinners, that goes all wrong. One of those Thanksgivings where people start to talk politics or something, and there's all sorts of stuff comes out that maybe would be best left unsaid, and that's how that scene struck me. So I don't know what I'm going to think when I see it, but.
Well, I mean, to your point, it is a sort of about the unspoken elephant in the room.
Yes, the elephant in the room. Yes.
Yeah. So, but I did want to ask about also working with John Noble and how the two of you kind of found that relationship.
I didn't know him. I'd never met him, and I'd seen him before. No, I met him. We only shot that for, I don't know, a couple of days. So I met my husband, and then 2 days later we said goodbye.
I feel like that's a good sentiment to end on, but thank you honestly so much for taking the time out of your day to speak with me about the show. It's a genuine pleasure, and I'm very excited for everyone, including yourself, to get to watch season 2, but I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks. Good to talk to you.